So yesterday we saw a conversation taking place between Eliezer Eved Avram and Shem ben Noach. So Eliezer ben Avram had a shaila on Shem ben Noach. Like, what's this geshen on the teva? What were you doing there? And he told him how hard it was. Conversely, then Shem said, "You know what? You asked a question of me. I got a question for you. That battle against the four kings. How in the world did you win? How is that?" So he said, "No problem. We took dirt, we picked it up, we threw it at them, it became swords. We took straw, we picked it up, we threw it at them, and it became arrows." So based upon that, the Gemara goes into a Maisa, a very famous Maisa. Nachem Ish Gamzu Rokol, right? He was accustomed the Chol Dahabe Solikle, anything that happened to him, Gamzu L'Toiva. He would say Gamzu L'Toiva. So I heard B'Shem of Aaron, every Jew, everything he does is good. So if everything he does is good, so what's the chiddush of Nachem Ish Gamzu? So he goes, when we say it, we say Emetz Hashem, it will be good. Nachem Ish Gamzu was showing good. It was right then good. It wasn't. He didn't have to seal us it. It was that good right then and there good, which is a madrega. So Yom Echad one day, Bo Yisrael l'shadu darim l'keisa. They had to. Rome was in charge, and they had to go ahead and send a present to the Caesar, to the Caesar. So they wanted to send somebody. Omar Bahade Amid Aleph, Man Nishada, who should we send it with? So Nishadi Bahade, Nachem Ish Gamzu, let's send it with Nachem Ish Gamzu. The Meludim Benisim, who this guy is Meludim Benisim, and we don't have to worry. In other words, we're going to send a very precious gift. We'd have to worry about Ganovim. You know what? Let's send him with this person who has Siyata Deshmaya, he's a Mufis, and therefore he's such a person, we don't have to worry, and we'll send it to him, and everything will be okay. That's what they said. Kimati lahu diyura. So Nachem is coming along, and Nachem is bringing this chest that's full of. They set him out with a chest full of precious gems. And Kimati lahu diyura. When he got to a certain place to stay, a little motel, right? Boy lemesiv, he was going to stay the night. So Amrilei, my ikka bahadach. What do you got? Samalahu Nachem, being naive, said to him, "Come Vilna karga the Caesar. I'm going ahead and I'm bringing a karga, literally a tax to the Caesar." So Kamu Balela. So what happened? The people there got up at night. Sharinu Lisifte. They went ahead and they opened up the box. The Shakal the Havigabe. And what did they took? They emptied it out. And now, knowing that Nachem will be able to tell the difference in weight, Umalunu Afra, they went ahead and then they put schmutz, they put dirt in it. Kimat Hasam, when Nachem unknowingly went ahead and got to the Caesar's place. Ishtaka Chafra, they opened it up and they found schmutz. So Amar. So the Caesar, the Caesar said, "Achuchi kamachachas b'yudoi." The Jews are making fun of me. They're bringing me schmutz, right? They're bringing me schmutz. So he said, "But you're making jokes. What's going on over here?" So Rabbi Kuf Tes Amid Aleph, a few lines. Asa Eliyahu came along Eliyahu Anavi. Ve'idmulu kechad minai, he looked like a Roman. Amalahu, and he said, "Dilma hayafra me'afra de Avram Avinuhu." Maybe this offer is the same offer that Avram used to go ahead and be victorious over the four kings. Davishadi Afra Havicharbe, when Avram would throw the dirt, it became swords, and Gili, when he throws straw, Havigiri, it will become arrows. Baduk, the Romans. Listen, Freudian. Anyway, the Romans went ahead, they took it, Badku, they checked it out, and lo and behold, Vashkuchu Hachi, and they found that, guess what? It was so. Having Mechuza, there was a certain area that the Romans weren't able to conquer. What did they do? They threw that schmutz at them, and they were able to conquer them. They took the Romans, they took Nachem into the Fort Knox of Rome, and Amri shakled dinachlach, take whatever you want. So Malye Lisifta, the Hava, he went ahead, he took gold and he threw it in the chest. Kihoda Asa, when on the way home, he stopped and stayed in the same place. So Amrulay, Hanach Liyori, those people must have been shocked to see him alive, right? Can you imagine? They must have looked up and thought they're seeing the dead. Like what are you doing here? They couldn't believe it. So my Amti Lebe Malka, Why did you bring? Why did you bring that? That you got such covered? So Amalahu, he goes, you know what? My deshakla mihacha amti lahasam. Whatever I took from here, I brought there. So shakla in there, they say, oh, this is great. So what did they do? They went ahead, they took the shmutz, amti lahasam. They got there and they thought they'd be rewarded. And guess what? I don't think so. Katlinu lahanach diyori, and they killed him. Obviously, they checked it out, what they were doing, and then they killed him. Okay, that was the door. That was the we discussed. That was the dar hamabel. The next thing is the dar haflaga. The dar haflaga is in Perik Vav, I think Perik Vav, in Bereshis, and it discusses this tower that they built. They built this tower, Perik Aleph, excuse me, Perik Aleph. And they built this tower, and they Gemara. It's not clear exactly what they wanted to do. The Gemara makes a few suggestions. The bottom line, things did not end well for these fellows either, as we'll see. Okay, Dora Flaga Elam Chelik Elam Haba, they have no Chelik Elam Haba. My Ava, what did they do? So Ami Deber of Shila, they said in Yeshiva of Shila, Nivne Migdal, they built a tower. We will build a tower. V'na'le l'rakia, and we will go up to the rakia. V'na'kai soy b'kadumais, we'll go ahead and bang it with kadumais. And kadeshi is uvumeimav, that the water, I don't know what they were thinking, now that the water will flow out. Now, guys, this is a few hundred years. This is the year 1996. 1996. The Mabel was in 1656. So it's only a few hundred years since the Mabel. So they're scared. So you know what? We're not doing good things. We're not living a good life. And therefore, you know what? We have to worry about the Mabel. We'll do something over here. What are we going to do? We're going to go ahead and somehow empty out the Shemayim so we don't have to worry about the water. Whatever that means. Okay? So Mocho Leb Marava, they laughed. If the reason for building the Migdal was to reach the Rakia, why they begin in a Bika? Fellas, they began in a valley, right? They came to Shina, they came to Bavel. That's going to be Shina's Bavel. It will be Bavel. And they came to this place. If you would want to bring something high, why start at a low point? Go to Mount Everest and start at the top of Mount Everest. You know, you go ahead. So in Eretz Yisrael, they laughed. If that's the case in Cain, Livnu Achad Betura, they should build it in one of the mountains. Says Gemara, Amrav Yirmiyah Bar Olaza, Nechlu Shlosh Kitais. There were three. In other words, now we suggest three other reasons, right? In other words, the Ella means if you go with the Ella, Charota from the Teretz that they want to go ahead somehow and open up the Shemayim, and they're offering three other Terutzim, right? Nechlu Shlosh Kitais. So we can go ahead and divide it into three groups. Achas Emeres Nalev V'Neshev Sham. We'll go live up there. V'achas Emeres Nalev Na'avoid Avoidis Kichavim. We'll go and serve Avodah Zarah. V'achas Emeres Nalev V'Nasim Milchama. We'll go do war. Zusha Emeres Nalev V'Neshev Sham will live there. Hafitzim Hashem. Hashem said, "You're not living anywhere." He mamish scattered them over the world. Zusha Emeres Nalev V'Nasim Milchama will go and do war like Nasu Koifim. They became monkeys. Ruchos. Shedim v'lilin. Look at Rashi. Rashi gives us a definition, guys. Top right. Shedim yesh lehem tsuras adam. They look like people. V'oichlim b'shoisim kibnei adam. Ruchin beli guf v'tsura. They don't have any physical body. Lilin tsuras adam elashesh lehem kanafayim mesech nida. Lilin they look like people and they have wings. Bottom line is these people that wanted to go ahead and do make war, they became kupim ruchais shedim v'lilim. V'zu shamas nale v'navoid avoidis kechavim kisham bol Hashem svas kol aretz. Hashem went ahead and he was mevalvel their language. He went and mixed them up. Okay, so I have a medrash here pliya, guys, a medrash pliya. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. 5 minutes before share, I said, Rebbeinu Shalom, I'm chavim shem shemayim, and I found it. It's guys, it's Peladik. Where I found it, guys, it's I'll show it to you. I knew the Masechta was in. It's in Masechta Kalayim. It's in the 8th parak of Kalayim, and it's Melecha Shloima. Guys, listen to this. This is unbelievable. Hapil v'akoif min chaya. So the Mishnah says a pill is an elephant. Guys, you can see this? Yeah? A pill is an elephant. A koif is a monkey. Min chaya, and it's min chaya. Kashali, says Melecha Shloima. Demai oslashmina. What are you telling me? So good, very good. It's a chaya, oh, good. V'shamati mipi chacham chosid mekubal Reb Meshulam Zatzal. Alahi detani bebrachas v'perik haroya. Guys, listen to this. Haroya pill, the koif, the kifuf. If a person sees in his dream, no, not a dream. If a person sees an elephant, or koif, a monkey, the kifuf, I know what that is. Omer barach mishan habriyos. Guys, halacha. You make a bracha mishan habriyos. Who's a mishuna dikabriya? Who changed the briyos? The kasha. My shinui is shayachasim. Where's the shinui? The kol bal chai nami mishuna tzurasam zumizu. Every bal chai, the tzur is different one from the other. So what's mishan habriyos? That it's different? They're all different. V'tiritz, listen guys, Tibizman dar amabul, nifra HaKadosh Baruch Hu min ha'anoshim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu took retribution from the men. Shehafchan lekupim v'pilim. He made them into monkeys and elephants. V'hainu shehakoif doim la'adam. And that's why a monkey looks like a person. Upil nami mevin lashon b'nei adam. And elephants also understand the lashon of men. Guys, the world of the famous zoologists, they're all mishuna that the elephants, they mourn their dead, they bury their dead, they have attributes of a human being, and they understand. V'hashka nafka the mastisan bein linyan tuma bein linyan hanena, right? Hanahaga. Now, say linyan tuma and in hahaga mastisan ela shel inyan tuma. Rabbi Yossi yitzrich l'srilei. Okay. Kumtois, fellas. Why does it make a bracha mishana habriyos? Because once upon a time, monkeys and elephants were men. B'shasta haflaga, they were men. At the time when they with the chayta, what happened to them? You see from our Gemara says, Hashem made them shadim and kupim. Here we have a medrash, Hashem made them kupim and elephants. Yeah? You hear this? So why do you make a bracha mishana habriyos? He was Mishana the Bria. Once upon a time they were Adam. And now these are not people anymore. That's why you make a bracha Mishana Brios. Guys, listen to this. The evolutionists, they bring rayas from here to evolution from what? That a monkey, it's the opposite. It's reverse evolution. They came from us. It's doch gewaldig. Doch gewaldig. Mishana Brios. Why do you make Mishana Brios on those things? Because in Machanami they were Mishana. I'm siyata d'shmaya that I found this. In Kalayim, guys. It's a Kalayim, Periches, and it's amazing.
If I go to a zoo today with my grandchildren, I see an elephant, I have to make the bracha or a monkey?
Look it up, the halacha. I think so. That's the halacha.
Never knew.
It's brought down. It's brought down the halacha. Yeah. There's a Torah on it also. Look at the Torah. Look it up. It's in Perek Raya. You can look it up. It's not hard to find. Okay, Gishmak. So that's what happened to them. Tanya, another daya. What exactly they were doing? Reb Nassan Omer, kulam l'shem avodas kechav niskavna. They were all miskavna l'shem avodas zara. In other words, not to fight, not to empty out the shemayim, not to live there. Always avodas zara. Kulam l'shem avodas kechav niskavna. Ksiv hacha nasa lonu shem. It says, let us go ahead and make a name for ourselves, right? In shemayim. Ksiv hasam v'shem elhim acherim leisaskiru. So v'shem, just like alehim achem is avodas zara, so to ma'alahalan avodas kechav mavkan avodas zara. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Migdal shlish nisraf, a third of it was burnt. Shlish nivla, a third was swallowed up, and shlish koyim, and a third still remains. Amarav, avir migdal mishakeach. The avir of that place is mishakeach. Now it seems, what happened over there, fellas? They was kula sof echad. They all spoke lashon kodesh. What happened? Hashem made them not understand each other. You forgot your language. Mamela, this place over there, if you're there, it's not good for the zikaron. It's not good for the memory. It's going to go ahead and cause you to forget. Rabbi Yosef, Bavel ubursif simin rola Torah. Bavel and Bursif is a similar role of Torah, because some people say Bursif is the same place. In other words, it's not Bavel, it's Bursif in Bavel. My Golis Yom points out that Rabbi Yosef, he lived there. He was a Sinai. He knew everything, right? So obviously everyone lived. Rabbi Zera definitely should forget his Torah from Bavel, so he should be Makabel the Torah in Eretz Yisrael. We had the Gemara. So l'chayr, if they lived in Bavel, they should forget the Torah Memela. Oh, you see that why it's not true. You don't forget your Torah. It's this place, Dafka, that doesn't Bavel means Bursif in Bavel. Doesn't mean Bavel. My Bursif, it's Nutrikin Bor Shafi. Take the word Bursif, it's two words, put it together, it's a pit that doesn't have what usually it holds. So just like the moich, the head, the brain, should have something in it, it makes you, it's emptied out. Okay, so that was Anshe. Very little is written about the Anshe Dor Haflaga. Really, very little. Think about it. This is it. That's the whole Gemara in Shas, a few lines. That's all it is. Anshe Sedaim is different. Okay, guys, let me tell you about Sedaim. Let me give you an overview, but Sedaim, this is based upon a Ramban in Parshas Vayera. This is when the Malachim come to Sedaim. The Malachim come to Sedaim, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, just 1 second. This is the Yisoid. This is the Yisoid of Sedaim according to the Rambam, the Ramban. So the Malachim come to go ahead, and they come to the Shoy Sedom in Parshas Vayera. They show up in Pasuk Perek Yotes, and as we all know, that they were reluctant to go in, and finally they agree to go in. They come. But Terem Yishkavu, the Malachim didn't have a chance to lie down. The Anshe Sedom the Sabo Alabayas. They surround the house. Minarvat Zakin. Kol Amikotze. Everyone comes. Minarvat Zakin. Kol Amikotze. Vayikru El Light. Vayom Eloi. Aye Anoshim Asher Bo Elech Alayla. Where are the men that came to you this evening? Vaytzieh Melenu V'nei Daisam. Take them out that we should know them. Another says Rashi, to do an act of mishkav zacha to them, to do an act of mishkav zacha or snus. Vayetzi aleim Lord Pescha, Lord goes out. Vaydelas sagar achrov, closes the door. Vayomer al noachai tereu, don't do it bad to them. Hinin lo shtei banois, I have 2 daughters. Asher lo yadu ish, they were never married. Oitzina asem aleichem, I'll bring them out to you. Vasul lehem katoy beinechem, do whatever you want with them. Rak la noshama el atasu dava, don't do anything to these men. Kalkein bo b'tzel karasi. So the Medrash says, since Lot was so easy to give up with his daughters, Mida Kneg Mida, he ended up being with his daughters. So Lot is a loy life. Okay. Vayoyim Gesh Hala, get out of the way, and we're going to go do something worse to you than to them. And they continue on until finally the Malachim, they blind them. So they were not happy with the offer of what? In other words, they were not happy with the offer of the girls. In Pelegish Begiva, when the Pelegish was offered up instead of the man, the Bnei Belial, they wanted the man, they offered the woman, they took the woman, they were happy with the woman. They abused her, she died. So that's the contrast that the Ramban makes between Giva and over here. So what was the problem of Sedaim? What was the problem of Sedaim? Is that Sodom we're going to see, guys, was the richest place on earth. Sodom was a place that it had such wealth, they decided they don't want anyone to come to share the wealth with. So what did they do? They passed laws. They passed laws to make it a horrible place to visit. Here's the way the Torah describes Sodom. It's in Perek Yud Gimel. It's in Perek Yud Gimel in Bereshis. And there's a fight between the shepherds of Avram and the shepherds of Lot. And Avram says, whichever way you go, I'll go the other way. Vayisala, it's Perek Yud Gimel Pasuk Yud. Vayisala des Einov, Lot lifts up his eyes. Vayaris kol Kika Hayarden. He sees the whole Jordan Valley. Kikula Mashke, it was all fertile. Lefnei Shaches Hashem es Sodom v'Samora, before Hashem destroyed it. Kigan Hashem Keretz Yisrael Boichet Soyar. It's like the garden of Hashem Be'eretz Yisrael and the way it's in other words, it's describing a very lush place. Vayivcha lo light as kol kikar yadin. Lot chooses this. Vayisol mikedem, and the pasuk tells us pasuk Gimel v'yanshe Sedaim ro'im v'chatayim l'shemoid. The Torah, guys, the Torah always speaks cryptically, right? The Torah spells it out. Anshe Sodom royim v'chatoim Hashem ha'od. Okay. What they wanted to do, they wanted to make coming to Sodom a horrible place. What did they do? Anyone who would come there, they would treat in such terrible, terrible manners. We're going to see today, which you're familiar with, Sodom's bed. Sodom's bed was what? If you were too long, they fit you in this bed. If you were too long, they cut off your feet. If you're too short, they stretched you. The Gemara is going to tell us about a girl who gave to a poor person, gave food, went ahead, they stripped her, they put honey all over her, put her on a roof, and the bees bit her to death. Right? They're all crazy things. Why they do this? Now comes along the men, and they want to do an act of znus to the men. Says the Ramban, it's not pshat that they were immoral people. It's not pshat, because if they were, they would have been happy with Lot's daughter's offer. Pshat is, Lot, Sodom, they passed laws that no one should come there because they didn't want to share their wealth. By doing these bizarre things, it publicized. This is not a place you want to visit. You don't want to go anywhere near this place. And that's why they had these crazy laws, as we're going to see. And that's why they wanted to get the malachim the way they did. And that's why they made the bed the way they did. This is all because of not immorality. It was because, why? Because they loved money. It was a society, guys, that was predicated upon anti-chesed. Im olam chesed yibaneh, then it didn't have a right to exist. Vayapach es kol ha'orma. Kadosh Baruch Hu vayapach, he turns it over. Well, once upon a time was this beautiful, lush place, guys, is a place now that nothing grows. It's the Dead Sea. It's that smelly, sulfuric place. Literally the lowest place on earth. It's the lowest place on earth. It's Meshuna. What's Meshuna about it? Nothing grows there because they took the agricultural wealth and they used it for the worst reasons. They don't exist. If you think about it, guys, if you do the math, Sodom was destroyed. Let's say Avram was 70 years old. Okay, Avram was born in the year what? 1948. So 52 and 18. Right? 52 and 18. So it's the year 20, right? Right. It's year 20, 2018. Yeah? 2018. Yeah. 2000, Avram is 52. From 1996 to 1996 to 2018 is not a lot of years. I mean, it's a blip on the screen. It's a blip. I think Avram is 75 years old, actually. It didn't exist. The Ramban points out that the Eretz Yisrael will vomit out something like this. Avodah Zarah, Hashem understood. Avodah Zarah exists for like 500 years from the beginning of Enosh until, not Enosh, from the Zayin Umais until they're destroyed by Yeshua. It's like almost 400 something years. But for an anti-chesed, the side that's predicated against the whole purpose of creation is gone. A blip on the screen. That's Sodom. That's the Hakdama. And now we'll just get what? It's not only the Hakdama, it's the final thing also. It's the whole package. I was just going to give you the pitch of this over here. Okay. Tanrabanan. Ansh Sodom ein lem chelik al mava. Tanrabanan. Ansh Sodom ein lem chelik al mava. Shneimar. V'ansh Sodom royim v'chatayim Hashem ha'od. This we just saw. Royim b'olam hazeh v'chatayim b'olam haba. Am Rabbi Yehuda. Royim b'gufon v'chatayim b'mamoinam. Right? They terrible with guf what they wanted to do, and they're chayt with their money. Royim b'gufon d'chsev eichesa hara hagel al-sois. But Yosef says, how could I do this terrible thing? So we see that's called ra. V'chatasi l'elakim. Right, so you see that what that's a chait with your body, Eishes Patifar. Guys, we said that it says by Shemitah, comes along the 6th year, you're not going to want to lend money. Why? Because it's going to be Meshumit in the 7th year. So you see that what not lending money is considered a chait. Right. Lashem Zubirchas Hashem. When it says Lashem, it says they would bear Lashem Zubirchas Hashem. They would curse Hashem and Ma'oid Shem Eskavnim v'choitim. They had kavana in their actions. They thought them out and they did it anyway. Again, this all makes sense with the Ramban, right? That they were very much into. It's thought out the cheshbon of doing chatayim. It wasn't a taiva for the chait. It was a taiva for money. That was a byproduct of it. But Asnis and Tana Royim b'mayim, the opposite. Royim b'mayim v'chatoyim b'kufan. Royim b'mayim d'chsiv roy necha ba'achid ha'avyoin. That's the same pasuk we spoke about before, about regarding by Shemitah. And v'chatoyim b'kufan d'chsiv v'chatoyim lelikim. L'Hashem zu berachas Hashem, ma'oid zu shvichas damim. It says, v'anshe sedoim royim v'chatoyim Hashem ma'oid. So v'dashting L'Hashem is berachas Hashem, and ma'oid is shvichas damim. Shneimar, v'gam dam noki shofach minashe, harbe ma'od. Tanrabanan. Anshe Sedom leniskau el b'shvil toivish yishpi alehem kodesh baruch hu. Anshe Sedom, the reason why they became what they became, the reason they were so arrogant, is because why? Of the bracha that Hashem bestowed upon them. Umay dechsiv behem. What does it say about Anshe Sedom? Eretz mimenu yetze lochem b'tachteh nerpach k'moy eish. I'll get art scroll taich. A land from which bread comes out, and instead they turned it into scorched earth. Mokum sapir avonecha va'afis zahav loy. Its stones, they gave sapphire. Its dust was gold. This is describing Sodom. Nasiv la yadu oyet fasu in ayin. No robber came there. It was no spy watched it. La yidrichu b'nei shachatz la odo lov shachal. No beasts came there. No lions came there. No, but it's mamish a perfect place. Amru, what did the people of Sodom say? V'chimeacha sheretz memeno yetzer lochem v'afres of loy. Since we have all this, lama lanu oivet rochem. Why do we need people? We don't need people over here. Why they let Lot settle there? Because Lot was rich, or because they were scared of Avram. Again, Avram was Nasi Elokim Atabasachenu because they were scared of Avram. Rambam gives that kasha. Lama lanu oivet drachim she'ein boyim aleinu el chasreinu. All they want to do is come and take our money. So boy, v'nishtachach Torah regel meratzenu. Let's go ahead. And we'll make forgotten Torah's regel. Torah's no tourism here. Load is not a tourist attraction. At least then it wasn't. Now it is. But then it wasn't a tourist attraction. Shneimar, Paratz nachal me imgor hanishkochim mine rogel dolu me enish no. Okay. Dorish Rava. Paidich said an ana to haisusu al ish terachsu kulchem kikirnatu gadar chuyas. Again, one thing, if you have a pasuk you can't touch, guarantee you it's in the Yoiv. Guaranteed, it's always in the Yoiv. Okay, how long would they plot against man, all the murder, leaning against the wall and topple the wall? Well, let me show you. If a person had money, they would go ahead, they would set him up, put him there. They put him against the wall that is on an incline, or that's weak. And then they would push the wall on top of him. They come and take his money. Darish Rava, Maidich Siv, Chasar B'Choshech, bottom. They go ahead in darkness. They make tunnels. Yoimam Chismu Lamay Layadu Or, and by day they seal themselves in, never knowing the light. The people of Sodom, they would go ahead. If people would come there with money, they would go ahead and they would look upon them. They would go ahead and say, "Do me a favor. Can you watch something for us?" And this person, not knowing what, says, "Sure, no problem." And they give him a farsamon, which is very, very fragrant. The people then would come. They would have, I guess, their safe. They would have a safe to keep it in. Then in the evening, the people of Sodom would come and they'd smell like a dog. They'd smell the farsamon. And they would take the money. They would allow the people without clothing to spend the night, no garment to shield against the cold. They drive away the orphan's donkey. Okay, what does that mean? Darish Rabbi Yossi b'tzipurei. He would say that what? That he made that drasha that the people of Sodom, how they would go ahead and they would go into the houses and they would go in and they would steal from them. So he told them exactly what the people of Sodom did. So what happened in Sipurei is Achtrin Ahilaila that night, Lasmeya Machtara, 300 tunnels were dug in Sipurei. In other words, Rabbi Yossi gave him a class in Geneva, and then they went with it, and they ran with it. They took the class and they ran with it. So also they came, the people who were stolen from, the Nexalim, to come at Sayale, and they went with Sayar Rabbi Yossi, Amalei, Yavis or Chayla Ganave, you gave the Anavim away to steal. Amalu, Rabbi Yossi said, Bihavi Adana Dasi Ganavi. I guess when you give a share, you don't expect the Ganavim to come to share. But I guess they heard like Hakel they went ahead and they publicized what the share is about. They said, oh, Gavaldik. The Rabbi Yosef, when Yosef was Nifta, Shafei Marzeh the Tzipuri Dama, the whole streets of Tzipuris where he lived was full of blood. If you look at Rashi, list Rashi on the page, Shafei Marzeh the Tzipuri Dama, the Adam Gadol Havi. Rabbi Yosef was an Adam Gadol. V'aydi the Amar Le'el Ichatru Misrachmi b'Tzipurei, the Asr Rabbi Yosef, that they dug tunnels in the place of Rabbi Yosef. Havi Noket Nami Hai Mosa the Chinoyach Nafshe Lashmina de Mitsui Hai. The reason he told us is why that he was from Tzipuri.
They're still digging tunnels.
But
They're still digging tunnels today.
Ein Chodesh Tachas B'Shemesh, huh? Ein Chodesh, it's amazing. Remember when you heard those tunnels, you thought, how many tunnels could there be? What could a tunnel look like? You could can't forestell on what they did. It's amazing. Ami, the Islay Chatura. So here's some of the laws of Sodom, fellas. If a person had one ox, Mari Chad Yoma, he had to graze all the oxen of Sodom for one day. The Leslie, someone who had no shvarim, Lire Treyuma, he had to graze oxen for 2 days. In other words, we're going to see that the svaras of Sodom, the svaras hafuchas, they didn't make any sense. They're the opposite. So a guy who has one, he has to graze all of them. A guy who has none has to graze 2 days. He has none. What is he getting out of it? Who you asked him about Malta. There was an orphan, the son of a widow. Kind of redundant. Habile Ture Lamare. He had one ox. Oh no, Habile Ture Lamare. They gave him an ox. They gave him their oxen to go ahead and shepherd. Azul Shaklinu V'Katlinu. He was angry because I guess he didn't have any other oxen. What did he do? He took him and he killed the oxen. Amalahu. And then he went on the base. He said, the Islay Tura Nishkol Chad Moshcha. Someone who has one ox, let him take one skin. The Leslie Tura Nishkol Trey Mashki. Someone who has no oxen, let him take 2 skins. So if you have one, you can get one. If you have none, you can get 2. Amrulay, the owner said, my high, what are you talking about? The one who has none gets 2. So Amalahu, Slave Dina with Tchila Dina. Let the end be like the beginning. Mat Tchila Dina, the Islay Tura, Mari Chad Yuma, the Leslie Tura, Mari Treyuma. Slave Dina, the Islay Chad Tura, Lishkol Chad. The less they two are lishkal trey. He's showing them how perverse and this idea was. Another crazy halacha of Sidon. The Avid b'Marva, someone who would go across, it seemed that they had rivers that ran quickly through Sidon. And if you want to pass across the river, if you use the ferry, then you had to give what? 1 zuz. Le'avid b'Marva, Niyasif trey. But if you didn't use it, but you walked across or swam across, then you have to give 2. The Havile Dorid the Livni, a person who was building a house and he had a row of bricks. Each person would come and take one. Amalei, when they would go ahead to each one and say, give me my brick, they only took one. Right? I only have one. In other words, what do you want from me? Come on, it's no big deal. If one guy would have took all of them, okay, but one. If a person was drying out his garlic or his onions, each person would come and take one. And Amalei, and then the owner would say, the owner would want it back, and the guy who took it would say, I only took one. There were 4 dayanim in Sodom. Don't name your kids this. Shakrai, or Vishakrurai, or Zaifai is number 3. Umatzle Dina is number 4. Okay? So the Article brings from Magalia Sayon, the translation is liar, outrageous liar, forger, and perverter of justice. So it could be it's not their names, but it's the names they were given. Anyway, the machile le'isasa. Listen to this: if someone would hit a woman, the chavre of his friend, umaplalei, and that would cause her to miscarry, amalei, the judge would say, listen, yavanele, give your wife to the guy who hit her. That he should impregnate her. After all, he went ahead and took the child out. He has to put the child back. This is the laws of Sidon. The pasuk leila udna, the chamre, the chavre. If you cut off the ear of your friend's donkey, amalei, they would say havanele ad kadcha. Give him the money till the ears grow back. Give the donkey to the guy who damaged it until the ears grow back. The padle lechavre, if someone hit his friend, amalei, they would say havle yigra, pay him because he hit you. Why? The shakal achdama, he bloodlet for you. This is all the perverse halachas of Sidon. The Ovid b'Mavra, Yov Arbezuse. Someone who crossed the river in a ferry boat, he would get 4 zuz. The Ovid b'Maya, Yov Tamei zuz. He walked across or swam across 8. Sim Nechada, one time, Asa who Koivis, there was a laundry guy, a laundryman. Iklu Hasim, he came there, and they were wondering, how'd you get here? Amalei, have Arbezuse, give us 4 zuz, because he used the ferry boat. Amalahu, he said, no, I know but my Avi, I swam across. Some way, if that's the case, Cain have time, they give us 8. The Avi b'Maya, because you swam across without the boat. Layov, the laundry guy didn't give it to him, but you, and they hit him. Also, made the Dayan, he came to the Dayan. Amalei, you know what the Dayan told him? Havla agro de shakalach dama. Give pay the guy who went ahead and hit you because he bloodlet you. And the time the Zuzay, the Avra b'Maya, and go ahead and pay what? And pay the 8 zuz for swimming across the border. Torres Chaim points out over here, guys, that all these are the exact opposite of normalcy. In other words, it didn't make any sense. And that's why Vayapach Sedoim. That's why Kodesh Baruch Hu, Mida Keneged Mida, since all this was the opposite of normalcy, Mida Keneged Mida, Sodom was the opposite. It was turned over. This society has no place in this world. This society has no place in this world. Vayapach. They were totally pumfakert. They were pumfakert, so Kodesh Baruch Hu went ahead and they made them pumfakert. Baruch, you know that? You got that? Pumfakert? Eliezer Eved Abraham, Ismami Hassan. Eliezer Eved Abraham came to Sodom. Pajuhu, what did they do? They hit him. Asla Kamei Diyana, he came before the Dayan. Amalei, the Dayan told Eliezer, Havlei Agra, the Shakalach Dama. Pay him. Afterwards, he bloodlet you. So Shakal Galola. So came along Eliezer, he took a stick. Pajuhu Il Dayana, and he hit the Dayan. So Amar, the Dayan said, Maya, what are you doing? So Amalei, Eliezer told the judge, Agra with enough for love me nach. Right? What should you do? Listen, I owe that guy money. Guess what? I hit you. You owe me money because I hit you and I bloodlet you. The money that you owe me, give to him. Now, this is another story with Eliezer. Havi Lahu Puryasa. This is the famous Puryasa, Sodom's bed. Davi Magne Allah or Archen. There was this bed where Archen would sleep on. Ki Marich, if he was too tall, Gazule, they would cut off his legs. Ki Gutz, and if he was too short, Maskale, they would stretch him. Eliezer Eved Avram Ikli Hassan, he came over there. Amalei, they said, Kum Gani Apur, you go. Gay Shluffin. Amalahu, no. Nidre Nadre. I made a neder. Min Yoma de Mises Ima, from the day my mother died, laying the Ganina Apuria, I never lie down on a bed. Good idea. They used to say that yeshiva is like Sodom's bed. Everyone's got to fit the same mold. Yeshiva is like Sodom's bed. Everyone's got to fit the same mold. Kiavi misramilu anya, when a poor person would come to Sodom, bad mistake, yovle kol chad v'chad dinar. Each one would give him a dinar. Ukasiv shmei alei, and they would write the name on the dinar. V'riftale having matlei, but chas v'shalom, to give him food, they didn't give him food. Kiavi mayis, when the guy would die from starvation, also called chad v'chad and shakal today, they would go ahead and take their money because the name was written on it. You can understand, guys, this is a really bad place. This is not what Hashem intended when this was part of society. Havu asnei benayu. They made this a law between them. Kolman de mazmin gavra lebehilula. Anyone who would invite a person not from Sodom to a wedding, the shaleach glima, you would strip him of his clothing. Havi hai hilula, there was a wedding. Ikra Eliezer lahasam, and Eliezer happened to go there. B'layavle nama, of course they didn't give him any bread. Ki boilim misa, when they wanted to eat. Asa Eliezer v'yasa l'sefer. The kula Eliezer came. He wasn't invited. He came and sat with them. Amalei, they said to him, Man azman lahacha, who invited you here? So Amalei lahu di Yosef. He said, you know what? Ata is Amanta, you, the guy sitting next to me. He went ahead and invited me. Now this guy is scared, right? He's scared that what that. So what did he do? Omar Dilma Shami be the Ana Asmante. Maybe they hear that what? That I did this. Umashachle money the high, and they can take off my clothing. So Shakal Glima the high the Yosef Gabe. So therefore, what? The one who was sitting next to Eliezer, he took his clothing. V'roid labar, and he ran outside. Eliezer did to everybody. Had enough for kula, they all left. And he had the ganze suda to himself. Yeah, Eliezer had a Jewish cup. Haviahi Revisa, there was this girl, the Havikon Mafke Riftula Anya Bechatzva. She gave bread to a poor person in a pitcher. She didn't want people to know what she was doing, so she hid it in a pitcher. Igloi Milsa became known to the people of Sodom. Shafiu Duvsha, they went ahead and they smeared it with honey. Vukme al Ega Shura, they put it on the wall of the city. Asa Zibura came along the bees, Vachluha, and the mamish literally ate her up. Behind the Chsiv, Vayomar Hashem, Zakas Sidon Vamor Kiraba. The screams of Sidon Vamor are many. What's the Rava? What's the Rava? Al Iske Riva, because what they did to this Riva, this young girl. There's a Sefer Yafayinayim fellas who said this was Lot's daughter. This was Lot. It's fucking crazy. Lot lost his own daughter to the men of Sodom. The people of Sodom come, surround the house, and who took him in? Lot took him in. It's also Peladik what Lot did, right? I'll just tell the shtickle Torah, guys. But it says Vayiskel came as Lot, and he saved them from Sodom. What did he remember? He remembered that what? And when it came to Mitzrayim, and Avram said that Sarah is my sister, he didn't spill the beans. He was there, he didn't spill the beans. Freg de Welt, L'chayra, he had a big schus. He had this. Can you imagine in 1942, 43, you're a Polish farmer, and a Jew shows up at your house and says, I'm scared, I'm on the run. Can you help me out? And he says, sure. And he hides you. And then the Nazis show up at the door and they say, where is he? And you say, he's inside, but listen, I'll give you anything. Don't do anything to him. He's come into my abode. It's the exact same thing that he did, right? Mamish, the exact same thing. I would think that is a much greater act of doing something than not doing something. Not telling an Avram Mitzrayim is a Sheva al Taisei, sit and not say anything. Mashenkin, there's a come back say, why wouldn't it be the schus of what he did for the Malachim, what he was willing to do? Go ahead and be, that's the reason. Nava Yiskar. Says the Maral, he's unbelievable. He needed his own schus. He needed his own schus. That he took in the Malachim, he grew up in Avram's house. That was in his DNA. All he saw was what Avram taking people and people and people and people all the time. So Mamela, that's what he did. He took in people. That's what he did. That's what he needed his own schus. So shmak is anything. In Mitzrayim, had he gone ahead and spilled the beans, he would have made a fortune of money. So for him not to tell, and he loved money. You see, Lot loved money, right? By Yifches Lot, he chose Sodom. He chose the money. He loved money. Mele was a schus. That was Taki his schus. That was his nesayim. The kshmak b'shat. Okay. Anyway, it says the Gemara weiter. Meraglim elem chelik olam haba. The meraglim have a chelik olam haba. Shenemar vayimusu anoshim moitzi divas oretz. The people who spoke lashon hara, they're dead. Ra b'magefa. Vayimusu ba'olam hazeh. Magefa lo'olam haba. They died in this world. Magefa in the next world. Okay. Let's start a little bit. Adus karach elem chelik olam haba. Shenemar vatechas aleim haaretz ba'olam hazeh. Vayovdu mitoich hakahol lo'olam haba. Divrei Rabbi Akiva. These are the words of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Eliezer aleim amar kosiv Hashem memis mechayim moed shol v'yol. They went down, but they came up. So therefore, they do have olam haba. Tan Rabbanon adus karach elem chelik lo'olam haba. Shenemar Rabbi Akiva vatechas aleim haaretz ba'olam hazeh. That's again, these are Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yehuda and Meseira, not Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yehuda and Meseira says, they're like a lost article that people are searching for. I've gone astray, like what? Like a lost sheep. Go ahead and look for your servant. I haven't forgotten your things. Okay, we'll stop over here. Okay, we'll stop over here. Be'ez Hashem. This afternoon at 4 o'clock, there'll be a second share. And let's say, tell him